the people that are really going to be excited to come into these spaces are the ones who are like, I want to know what this illness or condition that's speaking to them and saying like, hey, something's off here that you need to check out. And the people that are not afraid are like, hell yeah, I want to go explore this. And even if they are a little afraid, this is a place where we can comfort them and they can find a safe place that maybe they haven't found before to start exploring these things that have been a little too scary. The way that we make people feel through architecture and beauty and design, all the way through the culture we've created and the community we've created for openness and sharing, like that's how we want people to feel when they show up. Redefining what it means to heal, how to heal. And it's so radically different than what we all know, what we've been taught. And it's about remembering who we are as a human collective, like why we came here, but then also remembering who we are as individuals. What is our purpose and how do we find our authenticity and how do we express who we truly are? Hey, Cameron, how's it going?
Hey, Brian, how you doing? Good to see you guys.
Good. Welcome on. So for everybody who's tuning in, we connected with Cameron, it might have been months ago through LinkedIn. And then we jumped on a call. I think we were just like, hey, this guy seems cool. I knew you were doing something in the background with writing and branding, brand identity. And that's when you told us a little bit more about what you offer clients in that regard. And so that's what we're here today. And it's helping us pull forward the identity behind TerraForm, but behind our brand, why we're here, and then also giving us a platform to just share about what we're doing. And so, I'll let you describe a little bit more about what this is, and then we can get into the questions and start dissecting what TerraForm is, why we're here.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me. I'm a writer kind of by heart, and so I was doing some ghost writing for different clients, mostly with newsletters, and I realized after a few conversations with some, there was a lot of interest in just deeper story work. They wanted to know how to pull out their story, how to make sense of their story, how to tell their story from a branding perspective, a marketing perspective, and then a lot of brands, they just have a hard time when they have a good story and they know their story. Even then, they're trying to work with employees to retail to all kinds of things. It's like, can they tell their story? Can they tell it consistently? So I just started building this kind of framework and concept of how could I help people tell better stories and understand their story better. So I came up with this thing I've been calling story excavation. I think that might be because when I was a kid, I wanted to be an archaeologist. Maybe somewhere deep down in there, it popped out. But so I just have a lot of questions, mostly just asking questions, and then we'll go from there. And then you guys can tell me the story, and you can pull it apart more and more and explain what TerraForm is and what you guys are trying to accomplish and what you want people to understand or know that makes you guys kind of gets you guys up in the morning and keep this project alive. So,
yeah. I even before we started, I just looking at what you sent us prior, I got excited just how deep you take this and the lens that you look at it from. Just talking about origin, also symbols and rituals, our archetypes. The cultural trends, the cultural movements that our brand is speaking to. When you're looking at it at a level that's so much deeper, it's not surface at all. And it really, it just excited me when I saw the level of questions you had, and it's like, oh, this is really getting at the heart, of who we are. So anyway, that I'm excited to get into this.
All right, you guys, I'm ready with some questions if you guys are ready.
Yeah, let's start.
All right. So how do you guys know each other? First, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so the first question I like to ask is, what was the moment? So like, not when you decided let's start a business or like, and this is a great idea, but like, what was the emotional moment when you knew this needed to exist, that TerraForm Projects and it's the idealist vision that you have of it, like its fullest extension? What was there a moment where you can pull back to either together or each individually that was like, this thing has to exist, and we're going to have to be the ones that make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, this was the idea of Terraform started percolating probably around 2020, and then growing more and more, through 2021 and eventually into 2022. But um, it was really stemming from the lockdowns,
Yeah.
and through COVID, there was a lot of time for us to contemplate, to really explore um, ourselves. And Mike and I were starting what we'll call like these healing journeys, this really deep inquiry into self, into who are we, why are we here, and at the same time, the there's so much attention and focus on health, and this very myopic and oftentimes very hypocritical perspective on like what should we all be doing in this time of such stress and chaos and fear, right, around
Yeah.
this virus that had been circulating the world. And the messaging that we were receiving from the authorities, the medical authorities, and the experts was so limited. I mean, that
Mhm.
might be a nice way to put it, but it was just, um, it was, and it was extremely hypocritical in many senses. And so
Mhm.
we're kind of watching the hypocrisy, the limitations of what our medical system was providing, and the advice and the suggestions it was giving us, and then coupled with the experiences that we were each having on a personal level, these journeys that we were taking that were really both psychological and emotional, but also these, physical, going into our physical health, changing how we're eating, and uh, looking into these chronic conditions that both of us had that were, minor, but things that we had experienced for years that we
Yeah.
just were like, how do we get through these things?
Yeah.
And so our backgrounds in, I was a commercial real estate broker my
Yeah.
whole career, and Mike spent his whole career in construction, development, project management. And so the built environment for us, and architecture to design, um, was of just what we knew. And
Yeah.
so it became very easy. The path was right there. It's like, well, we need to start creating spaces for a new paradigm of healing, of healthcare, of how we look at healthcare. And um, I didn't get into this, but just the facilities that this traditional system has right now, and what we've been living in for our entire life, and even generations before us, is just, it's not enough, right?
Yeah.
It's so far from what we really deserve and what we all need, to bring in like true and deep healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, Mike, I'll let you kind of touch on that a little
Yeah,
bit more of that as
I
well.
think we each have our own story of healing, and when they started at different time, they were all very different in their details. Um, and then of course there's a moment we came together, and I think Brian was touching on this, like how do we bring this thing into the world, and what does it look like? And real estate, construction management, and the built environment was just the vehicle to express all of these things. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
to go deeper into my story, it was, I don't know, maybe 2017, 2018, working what I thought was what society expected of me, to like buy a house and get a corporate job and climb the hierarchy, and work 60 hours a week, and just all of that kind of thing. And I was just suffering from chronic pain. We grew up with parents in the medical world, so we were very much devout to Western medicine,
Okay.
and none of those things were fixing my problems. It was just continually getting worse, and I was just looking for answers. So kind of started with naturopathic medicine, and then it moved into not wanting to take pills for the rest of my life just to suppress these symptoms. um, I took a recommendation from a friend to try Kundalini yoga, which I don't, have you heard of that before, Cameron? Like, yeah.
Yeah. I do a lot of like pretty typical yoga. I've heard of it. I think I've maybe tried it once or twice. I want to take a guess at it, but I don't want to be totally wrong. But isn't it has to do with is it more breath? Like there's
Yeah,
like more
yeah.
intense the breathing, or is that not right? Like I feel like
The
there's one where
cadence of
the
it's like
breathing is
a
like
lot of movement
you can
coordinated with
have like
breath,
yeah,
and then there's a lot of
yeah,
chanting involved as well. And then the exercises are just very repetitive. So it's a lot of the same thing over and over again for extended periods of time. So it's just not like you go to yoga and then Kundalini yoga seems like an entirely different practice. And it's just different, you know? And like,
Yeah.
I was just questioning
Yeah.
like, how is that going to help my stomach? You know, that I couldn't get through that block of like, why is breath
Yeah.
and movement and chanting and doing uncomfortable and awkward things going to help me? But I went to the class and it was like, of course, the breathing and the rhythmic breathing and the coordination with movement made me feel awesome. You know, now I look like, of course, it's going to work. I kept going to those
Yeah.
classes, and the instructor eventually came out that why I was there. I was telling her what I was doing, and she's like, "Well, you need to do this position, this posture try it for 40 days in a row. Don't skip a day, and do it for every single morning when you wake up." And it was this, sitting on your knees, cross-legged, breathing in and out through your stomach, chanting to the rhythm of your breathing for anywhere between 7 and 11. There's just certain increments with your hands over your head straight. So it's like this incredible endurance exercise, and you're chanting the whole time. And I'm at this stage in my life where I'm like not excited to be chanting. It just seemed foreign. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Are you excited to chant now at your stage of life?
Much
I'm
more.
around more chanting. I'm still a big chanter. Yeah. And I'm embarrassed to do it at home because I don't want anyone, like even my wife at the time, my ex-wife, I'm like, I don't even want her knowing what I'm doing. So I'm like in a closet, like a whole closet, like chanting so my voice doesn't like project through the house. And at the end of these 40 days, I went cold turkey out of all of the supplements. And at the end of the 40 days, I was just symptom free. Like none of my stomach pain was completely gone.
Wow.
And so Brian was getting to this too, but it just led into this deeper exploration of what just happened and how did that happen. And eventually it gets to this point, at least for me personally, is everything is tied to mental and emotional health. And that's not talked about enough. And so as we were kind of like, as we got together and we're like, how do we bring this to the world? Like, how do we show people that there's so much more than just our physicalness, and everything's intricately tied. It's like, spirituality, mentally, emotionally. And so, yeah, that's kind of the moment we came together. Maybe it was 2020-ish, where we're like, how do you deliver that? How do you tell people that the power is within us, and in what form does it come out of, right? Like, so that's where TerraForm Projects was born.
And I think one of the things early on that really struck both of us is this journey into self, into self-discovery and authenticity. I think Mike and I together were doing these very intentional psilocybin journeys, for a 4 or 5 year period. Every year we would do one together. And that was our entry into like therapy. That was our first real therapy, was doing those journeys together. And what we were discovering is that, like, as we became more and more in tune with who we were and started living that life, things started changing physically. So Mike just told his story, but for me it was just this chronic shoulder, neck, and back pain, just this tightness constantly, for years and years, and going for me through these. I did acupuncture, physical therapy, the very traditional things, massage. I just tried, resting, and it was like, it was constant, right? It was always present, no matter what, even when I was doing physical activities or not. And what actually ended up alleviating most of the pain for me was a somatic therapy, something that I picked up probably 3 or 4 years ago. And just as I've been releasing these old stories, these old patterns, these ways of living, the ways of thinking, and really going deep into the emotional processing, I think that's a huge component that is a big part of this journey into self, right? Is just clearing out these emotions, grounding these emotions, releasing these emotions, to create a new perspective and a new story from what we've all been taught. And that is completely missing from the system that we have now.
Yeah.
And the spaces that we go to don't accommodate that whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
going into a doctor's office, a clinic, a hospital, like, do you find a space where you can just be at peace and relax and remove yourself from the stress so that you can tap into a deeper sense of who you are and why you're here? It's like that idea is almost laughable
Hmm.
from the perspective of the current paradigm.
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's almost silly to think about
Yeah.
that. And so, yeah, for us, we were just like, something needs to come to fruition, needs to come to life that
Yeah.
really taps into this connection with self, this journey into individuation and authenticity. And like through that, people find their gifts.
Yeah.
Like they find out why they're here on this planet, and their lives start to change. And then at some point, they start to share that gift with the world, right? With the rest of the world. And that's where everything starts to shift, right? We start
Yeah.
to step away from not just the medical structure and the medical system that isn't working for us, but we start to step away from all systems that aren't working for us, right? And there's a lot
Yeah.
of them that are not working for us right now.
Yeah.
And so when we think about creating these healing campuses, it was like they have to be focused and connected on this journey of self-discovery and authenticity. But they also need to reconnect us back to nature, right? Like nature is this ultimate healer. It's the ultimate healer. And then also community. Community is the last thing I think that we haven't really touched on, but this reconnection with each other
Yeah.
that was lost, especially during 2020, 2021, where isolation and being a silo was promoted.
Yeah.
And it's like we don't heal in isolation.
Yeah.
Like we need support of each other. We need collaboration. We need community. And so those three things were really like the kind of the pillars, I think, of TerraForm is, self-discovery, connection to nature, and community. And so integrating that into the physical space that we create was vital.
Yeah. Thank you guys for sharing all that. That's a lot of personal story involved. It's interesting, like the timing of everything. I'm still kind of curious about too. Like when you guys were doing real estate broker, construction management, it wasn't within the same company. You guys' worlds weren't overlapped there, correct? You were kind of in different corporate settings, different situations. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then were you guys at that point, I don't have to go into like a huge history of your sibling history, but were you guys in close connection all during that time? And then you guys have always kind of caught up, like, how you doing, what's going on? Or did not that you maybe were estranged, but how did that come together in different worlds, having different experiences? Obviously you're going to talk to your brothers, but what is that first or second conversation where it's like, we do this? What is
the
that
timelines
like?
were a little bit. So I guess I'll start it in like 2017 or 2018. I think the three of us, me and my brother, and then our best friend wanted to start a podcast, like it was in the days of like everyone starting let's start a podcast.
Okay.
And it was about health and wellness, and each I mean, I don't know how many we did, but we would pick a topic, like quantum physics or something. And my buddy and I were more of like the spiritual open-minded ones, and Brian was like the skeptic of the group. And so we would present these things, and Brian was like the one who didn't agree, and that was mostly his perspective. And kind of while that was going on, like me and my buddy were very much like, why are you working so hard? Like, what are you doing grinding it out? And, like, what's the point, man? Like, stop working yourself to the bone. And we're talking to Brian, and he was just like, what? He's like, have you guys lost your compass? Like, this is the way the world works. Like, we got to work and you got to make money and blah, blah, blah. And we just weren't even on the same page whatsoever. Like, we were so far apart in that realm.
Interesting.
And then I mean, for me, it was the experience with Kundalini Yoga was, a huge opener. That led me to being a little bit more open-minded to it. Brian came a little bit later. I think Brian was probably a few psilocybin journeys, and then he was just like a changed person. Just like Yeah, like a month later, he's like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
get what you guys were talking about."
Like,
And we're like, "Dude, that's what it's like. We're telling you the whole time, man."
yeah. It was
Yeah.
6 grams of psilocybin will really change your
Yeah.
worldview.
Changer. That's all it
Yeah.
takes.
That's all it takes. A lot
Yeah.
changed after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
but
fascinating.
you were asking about, yeah, I was in brokerage
Okay.
basically actively until 2023,
Okay.
and just trying to figure out what TerraForm was, how to bring it to life, where it was going. And Mike was doing the same thing. I mean, he was working full time in development and construction in Univista. And so we were kind of just doing all this stuff on the side, right?
Yeah.
Until we were like, what's our first project?
Mm.
And then that was the sauna, which we can get into it a little bit later, but
Yeah.
that was finished and built last year. So
That
we were
was-
kind of just doing a lot of like, what is this?
Yeah.
Where's it going? And then I basically been out of doing full-time TerraForm for the last couple of years in a
Okay.
sense. A little bit of brokerage, maybe in the middle of that, but not much. So yeah, now that I think
Okay.
and we've always been close.
Yeah.
You were asking about like we've always been close, and this has just brought us even closer together.
It's really fun.
So we talked prior to this quite often, and
Yeah.
now we talk every day because we've got a business
Right.
together. And yeah, so we're constantly talking. Yeah. Yeah.
What I heard you guys talk about in that kind of first section, so much of TerraForm was kind of spawned out of dissatisfaction with the current. It was systemic is one piece of it. The systems in place aren't serving us. And then it was also super personal. As you guys, I know there was disappointment, or maybe that's a kind way to say it, with our current healthcare systems. When you guys were trying to go towards a more natural healing, self-discovery, authenticity, those value points that you had, and you looked out into the wellness world, did that shape much of what TerraForm is and will be? Or like, were you finding things there that you could use? Or is it, I know you said some of the somatic healing, the Kundalini yoga, because it sounds like you're trying, like, answer that, because I don't want to answer what I'm hearing, but I want to hear, like, it's a systemic thing, but it sounds like you guys are trying to create a space that almost is a new system. That's not just go look up a Kundalini yoga video online, which is what I think some people's approach to wellness is, like, go do that practice, but more.
I think what we've gotten to today, we didn't know we were with the connection between mind and body, physical, mental, emotional. We started on the healing journey. We had no idea what we were looking for. We were just trying to resolve symptoms. And then it's almost by accident that you realize it's connected. Like, you just have to start, once you're paying attention to something and then realizing that it's getting better, you're like, well, that didn't get better because of a cause, like this immediate cause and effect. You're like, oh, is it because like it's maybe a grief process or like a letting go of something, and so it's like accidentally we realized we were becoming lighter by doing these other modalities. Whereas, like, for example, I thought I was doing therapy because I was anxious and had depression. Whereas, like, doing therapy actually helped me regain energy and become vital again. And it reduced the tension in my neck, in my lower back. And these pains that seemingly were unrelated are all of a sudden related. So I think that was one of the things that kind of became clear. We need a space where people can find this. And as we started our thing, we were just kind of rudderless in a sense. Like, if you were like, I wish someone would have been like, you're going to address all of these things at the same time. Like, doing these things are going to all happen together, and stop trying to use your type A brain to do cause and effect. You're like, all of these things are intertwined. And so the other thing that I think we identified early is, like, insurance doesn't cover any of these things. Like, all of the modalities we were going to, you
Yeah.
go to your corporate insurance login and find whatever doctor is your zip code, and none of them exist, right? Like yoga's covered by insurance. A lot of these somatic, a lot of the therapists will take insurance, but most of the ones that I was going after didn't take insurance. So it's like this accessibility thing as well. Um, and so as we were kind of developing TerraForm projects, like, well, what does this look like? It's a space where all these things exist, and it's easy to find. They're all in one place. So it's a campus of all these different modalities where
Yeah.
people can go and explore and experience things. It's not like you have to go search the depths of, and most of these companies aren't well advertised. So it's like searching Google. You're not gonna find what you need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the idea of like the retreat where you go and have these profound experiences, and you may have some really high quality practitioners, and people fly in from all over the country or all over the world, um, and they offer all these different types of retreats, all these different types of modalities, and they tend to be very holistic, multi-dimensional. It's that, but it comes to the center of a community, so that the community has access to all these wonderful different modalities, including routine care, like your everyday, um, naturopath, DO, whatever kind of Ayurvedic practitioner that you would see on a whatever routine basis.
Yeah.
It has all those in one place. So then it becomes the kind of the high level of these retreats that people may talk about and go to, but it's really integrated and ingrained in the community. So you're not having to, and it's in one place. You're not having to drive like 20 minutes
Yeah.
to your doctor and then to your chiropractor and then to your acupuncturist. It's all there. And so then it really creates this hub, this community of people who are all doing the same thing, right? And they can all talk to each other. They can be a part of this community, and instead of like just being totally disjointed and
Yeah.
siloed.
When you say community, I feel like I've heard you say it using two different things, but correct me if I'm wrong, because I think this is really an interesting piece. In one sense, community is connection with each other, that we're a disconnected people now because COVID and the digital age and everything. What I also just kind of heard you say, it sounded more like it's in a community, meaning like, I think like small local town or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you see this as, so it's maybe a leading question, but hey, we want to create a community of people who all are like, we all are part of this healing community, but also we're going to see positive effects in this locale because this is the way we think of health now, because we've centralized it in this area.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Are both of those part of the vision, or is there one you focus on more than the other, or is it all entailed in the word?
No, I
community
think
for you
I
guys?
think you're right on those two different definitions. One is like a very physical community within close proximity, and the other is a community of like-minded people who maybe. So like when I think about those two different versions of community, our vision is very much a physical community of people in proximity to each other. As we're starting out, though, I think it's become more interesting to learn a little bit more about the other side of community, which is creating a space that we have now, but people are not congregating there all the time or regularly. But it's creating groups of people that will come together and learn more about certain topics and get inspired. And you've got it's more of a membership type thing, and you can provide people access to a kind of a dispersed network of healing modalities. Not necessarily that they're in one spot, but what we've started to do now with the sauna is really connect the sauna. What we're trying to do is make the sauna a hub and connector point to all these other healers in the area that may not have physical space, or if they do have physical space, they're satellites away from the sauna. So I think both are true. Well, but ultimately it would be amazing to have everything in one spot.
Yeah. Tell me about the sauna. How did that's kind of the launching of the kind of first iteration of this, this whole vision you guys have with TerraForm. How does the sauna play into it as the starting point? Is it intentional, kind of accidental? Like this is just kind of what fell into, or is it?
Yeah.
Tell me some of that story about the sauna, and then we'll dive in deeper into some of the community tribe stuff. I think that's really fascinating.
We never thought we would actually operate a sauna,
Okay.
but that's where we're at today, and it's perfect. But the sauna or the bathhouse is really the foundation of the healing campus that as part of our vision. And the reason is because it is so it's so easy, so accessible to a large audience, and it's also just a very powerful modality for healing, and a wonderful detox, and also just a very good mood enhancing. It's just awesome, and that is also a great place to just for social interaction, for community to come together. And so when we think about building from the ground up and having that as an entry point, like a gateway, we often call it, and so that it brings in the most amount of people, and it allows us to get a launch, like the best launch we can, and to creating the community. And then another reason why we call it the gateway is just because it's a place for people to come that may not be familiar with these other different types of modalities. We talk a lot about, we were talking about Kundalini yoga and somatic therapy, and there's even ones like past life regression, plant medicine. There's so many unusual but very powerful modalities that people are starting to find out about, but maybe have still never heard of. And so if we can get people to come in through the sauna and start to wonder, like, what else is going on here? And people are talking and chatting, and they're seeing, different spaces around the campuses that are offering these different modalities. It'll just help people ease into those and expand their horizon for ways to heal, ways to kind of go deeper into themselves. So the sauna is the number one phase, and that's where we started with it. Yeah. And in Mike's town, there's not really anybody who's operating a sauna that we could have called on to kind of come team up. We tried that. We actually went out to different groups of people, I guess in my neighborhood, Seattle. There's not a lot in Mike's town. And so we're operating it ourselves, which is perfect, because it's so important that if this is the entry point into a TerraForm campus, into a community, that it really needs to be right. Yeah. It really needs to feel like us. And so we didn't realize that until we're like, oh, we have to do this ourselves.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you partner with someone, you lose some of that initial identity of what makes you all, unless you just find something that's so
without having a stake in the community, without being a participant in the healing process. It's hard to then be the ones trying to shepherd a community. So like now that we have a sauna, we're a facilitator in some sorts, and healers in our own right. The space itself is kind of the healer, if you would say it like that. So we didn't really realize that until after we started it, but that became like it's crucial now that we have our name, or I shouldn't even say name, just being involved and participating in the act of healing. Yeah.
I think I was reading I think it's called The Nordic Way.
Oh yeah.
I think Justin, you guys know, but from Cedar and Stone, suggested it to me. She writes in there about the sauna as like just the great equalizer, because other than it just getting into it, whatever that requires, which is usually very little, it doesn't require so little of you, because it's a passive experience in that way. Like you come and you just sit. And when you're in there, you don't know who drove what car, how they showed up. I mean, it's like, I love that idea of it being like a gateway, because I feel like it is, for the moment, sauna is kind of having right now. I feel like culturally, like I can see kind of the bubble or the wave, like I think because it's working, but it's such a great community builder. It seems like just connection happens in those places. So great.
Yeah, and you're almost naked, so you can't tell how nice of clothes that you're wearing.
Yes, well, I was going to say, in her book, she talks about she grew up in that region, so that it is common to do it naked, and that's one of the things that's a great equalizer. Like you have nothing, no one, and it's pretty wild. And you guys just moved, right? The sauna. I know you guys.
We're in
a new location. How'd that feel? Was it risky? Was it adventure?
It felt like
this is awesome.
We'd always wanted to be by the river now. So we're leasing a lot that's adjacent to publicly owned land, which incorporates the Arkansas River. So we're as close as you can get,
Okay.
which is amazing. We didn't
Okay.
move on our own timing, but it felt like we're
Yeah.
being nudged or pushed and invited. I think it is a good way to say it too. Is like there were just some issues with water rights and allocation and not being able to use cold plunges, and we were on Main Street in a small town, but still is like the busiest street in town, not the best environment for privacy and nature immersion. So yeah, now we only have a
Yeah.
neighbor on one side, and then we have like 270-degree views of the mountain range and the Arkansas River. You can hear it's so close you can
Wow.
hear it, and so it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's
Brian's like just looking for a place to move.
It's hard. I know. I'm like, what am I doing over here? You know, it's like, but it's lighting a fire under me to get something
Yeah.
going in Washington so that I can start to,
Yeah, that's
steward
great stuff.
something myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So I want to talk a little bit about who you guys are for. We've got a lot of the kind of where this came from. So like the question is the broader question. We'll dive into it more and more, and this might have multiple layers. So who is TerraForm really for? So not just anyone interested in wellness, like who specifically needs this? And you guys can talk maybe first about those needing healing, those who are looking for practitioners, and then also as a place for practitioners eventually where the space is more developed. Like who is it for? Maybe who's it not for? If you want to start with either of those definitions, like, yeah,
Yeah.
what's the distinctive?
yeah, it really is. I mean, it's built for practitioners,
Okay.
holistic practitioners that understand our multi-dimensional nature. We're physical bodies, but we are emotional. We're mental. We're spiritual. We have a connection to God, right?
Yeah.
And the healing process incorporates all of those. It has to. So I think I often refer to those as the true healers, right? The ones who understand that deep connection, and the ones who understand the power of community, right? Of collaborating in one space. And so the healers, the practices, the modalities that understand that's who we're for, right? We want those people. And we're also for the people, right? The folks who know that there's something more out there. There's something missing, right? And I think a lot of people are feeling that, right? There's like either a mental, emotional tug, or even like they may be feeling some physical symptoms. And they're like, this isn't working. Like something's off. Like what I've been taught and told is not right. And so the people that I think are really gonna thrive and be excited to come into these spaces are the ones who are like, yeah, I want to dive in, right? Like I want to know who I am. I want to know why I'm here. I want to know what this, whatever it's an illness or a condition, it could be the mind, it could be the body that's speaking to them and saying like, hey, something's off here that you need to check out. And
Yeah.
the people that are not afraid of like, hell yeah, I want to go explore this, and even if they are a little afraid, like this is a place where we can comfort them and they can find a safe place, that maybe they haven't found before, to start exploring these things that have been a little too scary.
That last phrase is really powerful. I think that kind of
Yeah.
leads into a question I was going to follow. Mike, I'll let you add to that first if you got anything to add.
why
I
don't you
have a
follow up?
follow-up.
Because I think we've got more people that we're for, but it's not on the same thread. So go for it.
Yeah. Do you see this endeavor being one where you plan to do a lot of education, meaning to get people to find interest, you're going to have to educate on these different modalities? Or are you hoping to build it in a way where those who are already either fed up or I want to know, I'm all in, I'm ready, it's just I don't have nowhere to find it now, I can find it? Is there one that you think is a better fit, or one that you would enjoy
I think
more?
people need to
as
find their own
founders?
way. I think education's important because they're the people who'll be looking for it in mind. But there's so much out there that people can find. And so maybe we'll be a resource to share other pieces of education. But I don't know, personally, I'm not interested in putting out, the only form of education I think I would put out is just my own individual story and how we got there. So people can just see you as an example. I've just, as you go through, at least as I've gone through healing, I've been so eager and excited to share things with people, and it comes across as advice, and it comes across as like you should do, or
Mhm.
why aren't you doing? And there's just so many times I've had to be reminded that it's not right for them. And they will find out when it's right. And when they do it for themselves is the time where they're going to fully adopt it. No one's going to convince them of that. So I lean away from the education piece just because there's so much out there, and people are gonna find it. And I just feel better about sharing my personal experiences um, as a way of getting in touch with people who are listening.
Yeah. Yeah. I, I couldn't agree. Yeah. Couldn't agree more with that. And there's almost times in our life too, where it's very clear when we're trying to pull people, personally in our lives, our family or our loved ones, wife, like pulling them into like, hey, check this out. Like, this is, you're like, let me tell you about this. And it's like, no, it just, you can tell it's not their time. And, but sharing stories, I think, is really maybe our education. And we, even on our YouTube channel, we highlight other people's stories.
That's cool.
So we, just sharing those and then letting that resonate with whoever it needs to resonate with. And I think that's the best form of education for people. Yeah.
Well, it's almost too like it would almost be incongruous with creating a healing place like this, like a place to, if it was pushy. Yeah, that makes sense. Like it almost
Yeah.
goes against the very thing it's trying. So I'm sure that's just like a interesting. It's a piece where you guys could stand out, where every kind of marketing piece is like, you got to educate. And it's like, well, maybe it doesn't apply to this situation because we want people who already hold some kind of conviction or have had some kind of experience or story because they need that self drive, or I mean, that's a wrong word. I don't like that word, but motivation or
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to be in that mindset already. Right.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, the only, not thinking about it, like for the sauna, we will occasionally post like stats.
Yeah.
Some
Here's the
people will,
benefit. Here's what it does.
right? Like somebody'll like, we'll share a story that somebody might have already posted and done their own research. And I think those are super interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff about saunas and cold plunge, but yeah, as far as like original content and education, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question. The people that you can, well, actually, Mike, you had other people you wanted to share that. This was cool too.
I think if we had to add another category of the people that we're for, it's more of a mindset. It's like we're looking for people. We're looking for people who are want empowerment and versus fear and disempowerment and victimhood. A lot of what we're providing isn't necessarily a product, or it's a place, but it's a space. It's kind of holding space to allow people to find themselves and to remember who they are, and maybe shining a light on ourselves in a way that gives people some kind of inspiration. I don't like, not that I'm super inspiring, but it's just like letting people know that like you can do things. Yeah.
You inspire me.
Right? Come on, Mike. Don't put yourself down like that.
Like, yeah, like there's
I know what you mean.
a way about going through life with less fear and less scarcity and more abundance and more love and more faith that gives you have so much less control, so much less you're not striving, which is what we're taught gets you things. And to see someone who's doing their best, like I don't do it all the time, doing their best to surrender, doing their best to trust,
Yeah.
and just like letting it makes it less scary, I think. And so we're looking for people who are interested in finding their own power. Yeah, and it through product, it's just
Yeah.
through a place.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I want to just like
Yeah.
tease this out a little bit more just for fun, kind of. But so if you can imagine who these people are, from practitioners to participants, what would they say yes to immediately that most people would dismiss when it comes to maybe healing
Like
or
the belief that,
their pathway,
yeah,
their journey? What would they say
the
yes
belief
to?
that they can do it themselves, and not necessarily like day one take the training wheels off, but um, maybe there's a long road
Yeah.
of people and healers in your life that help you get there. But and I'm by no means, my training wheels are still very much on, but just saying yes to the hope, and that one day there will come a
Yeah.
day where you can heal yourself in all regards, and maybe that doesn't happen
Yeah.
in this lifetime, but it's the path to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Brian's like,
Yeah.
nailed
Yeah.
it. No notes.
What's that?
I said, you're like, yeah, nailed it. That's
Yeah. Um, I think too that just this knowing and feeling, maybe they can't identify it, but that there's something much deeper in this world for them and for all of us. Maybe I love to use the word magic.
Mm.
There's a magic to this world that a lot of us are not in touch with, but I think deep down we all know it's there, and we've squashed that through childhood, and
Yeah.
I think the people that I think are drawn to us, and ourselves, of course, included, just really know that there's a magic in this world, an awe, like a wonder,
Yeah.
and even a transcendence that we're all meant to touch.
Yeah.
We're all meant to just live and thrive in that space, this playful world of magic and wonder. And I think most of us who are early on in this journey or haven't started it, it's hard for us to say what that is, to even name it. But I think people can feel it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something missing, and I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. You said you were saying they believe there's something in my brain. Though you're going to say more or bigger, just because it's just like such a natural phrase. There's something more, something
Yeah.
bigger. But that fact you use deeper, I think, is distinctive. That sets people apart, because to feel that there's something deeper to what's going on is different than just to feel, oh, there's more to the world. Like everybody kind of is like, oh, it's bigger than us, or there's more to it. But the deeper part is really fascinating. And I was thinking, Mike, as you were sharing the belief they can do it themselves, one, I think, like you're kind of describing my wife particularly, but us as a couple, like that. It's interesting as you describe it. You kind of you have a good sense of who this would be for, because I can picture immediately if we had a place like this where we're located, there would be such an easy. We're already curious. We're already kind of over the current system. Like we already educate ourselves enough on these things, but to have a local communal place. So it's really, all those things are kind of clicking, like, oh yeah, you guys have a good read on who this is for, and sign us up, just whenever you come out to the Midwest,
Oh,
just
that'd
let
be
us
awesome.
know.
Yeah. We'll get to you. We'll get to you next.
Yeah.
We'll do Washington from
Yeah, this is one at a time. Okay, so we've maybe covered this just a little bit, but as TerraForm continues to grow and I keep thinking of it as like it has this kind of end realized experience. It's not there yet. It's still at the very beginning. If you can imagine it and its realization point, when the right person walks into your space, your healing community for the first time, what do you want them to feel from the first minute that they're
Safe,
there?
like welcome. Peace. Yeah.
Yeah.
The healing happens when you're in your parasympathetic state. If you're still in fight or flight, anxious, you heal, but it's just not the same. It's like, so the
Yeah.
the way that we make people feel through architecture and beauty and design, all the way through when you start talking about holding space, just the culture we've created and the community you've created for openness and sharing, like, that's how we want people to feel when they show up immediately, like, and through all of those facets.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good.
That's
Safe.
it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing to add. I mean, no, won't even add anything.
I love it. Okay, let's move on to kind of your values, what you guys stand for. And the one that I love asking is, what would you never do, even if it made you more money or grew TerraForm projects faster? What would you never do? What line exists that you won't cross? Or if an investor asked you to compromise something that you wouldn't do, what
I
would
mean, it's the line between disempowerment and empowerment,
that?
right? Like fear and disempowerment is someplace we'll never go, and it's rampant everywhere. But our mission really here is to help people remember and to really activate the power that they have within them, right? To heal themselves, to co-create the reality that they desire, that they're here to manifest. And so, and the only thing stopping people from that is fear and the thought that they can't do that.
Yeah.
And so everything that TerraForm is here to build and create is a space where people can cultivate that for themselves.
Yeah, you're speaking to agency a lot. Kind of when I hear empowerment, I think of agency, which favorite concept of mine. But I love that. Yeah, I think it's core to.
Yeah, agency, sovereignty.
Yeah,
right. Just the power of the individual.
Empowerment is such a powerful word too in the medical health healing space. Like, yeah, I love that. Anything else you would add to that particular like nuance, disempowerment versus empowerment as it compares to our traditional pathways of healing in medicine versus a more holistic?
It's that concept of outsourcing to a professional, not having enough trust in your system, in your intuition, or even just the knowing of how your body operates, that you, if you get a diagnosis or a prescription, you treat that as like the final say. I'm not saying that doctors aren't doing amazing things.
Yeah.
I think there's just a perspective that you can enter into those situations with, that keeps you more in line with who you are and what's feeling right, versus just going in blind and taking whatever you have there. So we do a really good job of outsourcing our power to doctors. And most of the time it's valid, right? Like most of the time they have awesome things, but also many times there's probably some disconnection. So I think that's a huge part. So yeah, thanks for letting us clarify that.
Yeah, not just doctors, but also just information. We outsource a lot of our power to other people's information and advice. There's research, right? We can get lost in research, and we can outsource our power to that research and to that information to the experts and the authorities. And even when it comes to working with doctors and other practitioners, whether they're holistic or not, there's a level that people can still outsource, and that even when you're working with the people who are trying for you not to, like they want to empower you, but it can be hard. I think it can be hard in a world where we've all grown up into and taught to just listen to other people, listen to what you're told.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's difficult, but yeah, and that's something that we want to help people create within themselves, so that they know.
It doesn't mean that
Go ahead.
whatever visit it is, if it's a health related visit, it doesn't mean that it's going to go differently. It doesn't mean the outcome's different, but it means you enter into it with a level of discernment and a level of care for your opinion on the matter. And you could go into it with that perspective and still come out of it with the same resolution as had you entered it a complete outsource. But it just means being aware of your own power and filtering through that information with your lens, as opposed to just accepting it straight out.
Yeah. When you have a community, you have the different modalities and practitioners. I think it can be easy to assume that disempowerment is the natural going with the flow of our modern medicine, and empowerment is just a natural flow of those different modalities. But that's probably an assumption. Have you guys thought about how you cultivate that kind of a value system amongst the practitioners? Is it finding the right ones? Is it making sure I don't know, like, how do you keep empowerment as such a distinction when you're collecting people that aren't you guys, like, it isn't just you two doing it, you're actually collecting, which I think is some of the beauty of it, is the community and the diversity of the people you're bringing together, but keeping that empowerment. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of, like, even through this, the messaging and the information that we put out, I think it does attract those types. And but then there also just becomes a vetting process of making sure that the people we are inviting into these these circles and these campuses truly do abide by this and understand this. And I think where we're starting at such a small scale right now, it's easy. It's easy to connect and bring in the people that we know, the ones that we have relationships with, because we're creating the spaces in our own communities.
Yeah.
We're creating them in our backyards, and so we know the people who we're bringing in. And so in the early stages, it's a little bit easier, and I think where it will get challenging though is as we grow and we start to expand, and we may be introduced to people that we haven't worked with, that we haven't actually experienced their healing, and maybe it's through referrals. But one of the aspects that we've talked a lot about is creating these agreements, creating these frameworks of, like, what does it mean to be a practitioner in this community, and what are the values that are part of being a practitioner and a healer in this community, and spelling those out. And as we onboard people, as we invite people into to collaborate and partner in these, that they honor those, and they sign agreements into those. We've even talked about creating kind of very sacred rituals into that invitation of bringing people in, right? So it means something. It means something really significant when someone comes into a TerraForm property.
Yeah.
Right. We're not just saying, go let's set up shop and start healing. Right. It's like, no. This is a family. This is a community of healers. And we may have our individual modalities and practices, but we're here to help these people heal. And if my modality isn't working for them, then I need to, I can refer them to somebody else.
Yeah.
We can all collaborate and work together. And so that is a different value, but still a part of this overarching agreement, right? This agreement that we would have people take on before they come into to a campus like ours.
Yeah, that's really helpful in that sense too. When you think about, if you abstract TerraForm from just a community, but as a brand, let's say, I don't think you guys are just trying to create some brand identity necessarily, but in that sense, it becomes a trusted identity from people, meaning you guys are vetting the practitioners. You've created a certain kind of environment that as it grows, someone could say, oh, that's a TerraForm campus. We know we can expect XYZ. The same way someone will buy a certain water bottle or a certain brand of clothing because I'm expecting XYZ. That's what the brand has stood for, you know. In that sense, that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And it's an important thing. And it's why I think we're having these kind of conversations, because you're going to represent something that's really powerful to people. So it's really, really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's crucial because it is hard. It's really hard to find a good therapist.
Yeah.
It's hard to find a good dentist.
Right.
I say dentist just because like it's hard to find a good holistic dentist. It's like some of the hardest.
Yeah.
Anyway, but all these and other these unfamiliar modalities, people are coming into this and they're like, I don't know who to trust. I don't know who's good. And there's just a lot of, they all have good hearts, but there's a lot of people out there that aren't trained, and they're not skilled yet, and they may just not know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem in whether it's the holistic world, the TerraForm healing world, or even any kind of Western system, right?
Yeah.
It's like you go looking for a practitioner or a doctor, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's like, where do I even start?
Yeah, it's overwhelming almost.
Yeah,
it is.
One other thing I wanted to add to this who are we for, who are we against? I think I'm just calling it community, but there's a kind of a lot baked into it. This community versus divisiveness, I think, is kind of what I came to. And community, I'm seeing it's like in person. Sorry. It's in person, and it's for everyone. Like, and when we say for everyone, it's got to be accessible, and it's got to be, it's not, even though beauty is one of the things we strive for, it's not this unattainable exclusive group that can only afford it. It's got to be for everyone. When I say divisiveness, it's just, I don't know, maybe separation. I don't know the right word, but it's like, you're catering to an exclusive group, and we're definitely not virtual. We're more of this pathway of like an extremely deep and unique personal experience where people establish strong bonds, and they're actually gonna they'll actually be like, I have your back type of relationship, as opposed to like, I know him from this online thing, but I've never met his family, and I don't know like if he's in struggling or whatever. So like intimate and strong bonds, and then keeping it accessible. And part of being a company like in this world we live in is like, gosh, it needs to work and pencil. And so you're kind of at this tug of like, it needs to make money and people need to pay, but there's always other methods for helping people. And so we're extremely interested in getting our another project off the ground, which we're calling TerraForm Gifts. And it's essentially just fundraising to help provide essentially scholarships for people who need it. So it's a lot of these modalities we mentioned don't take insurance. And so how do we create that scaffold so that people can explore these things without, when they don't have that big structure in place to help support the compensation part of it.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great, scaffolding is a great word for that. It's a needed one, I think, for that, for this kind of a community, this kind of a space to exist, and accessible. I think that's the word I've heard you guys say a few different times, both in the actual modalities being accessible, the different practitioners not being, people can actually, these things that they're curious about, these things they want to explore.
Like, I think that I don't know what to call it. We're calling it TerraForm Gifts, but it's essentially like helping people find the healing that is going to allow them to become who they want to be. And in life, it happens all the time. Maybe I wouldn't say all the time, but there are people who just enjoy watching others succeed, and they have the means to do that. So maybe it's gifting someone free therapy or free coaching or whatever it is And it's usually pretty intimate. Like it's a friend or a family member or someone who's just like your biggest fan. And that kind of bond that you create by giving someone that kind of gift is so powerful. Like they're not giving it to you out of pity. They're not giving it to you because like they're giving it to you because they
Yeah.
want to see you succeed and grow and change the world and like find your gifts, and that is the strongest way to grow community, where like someone is literally saying like, yeah, I have your back. And whatever you do, whatever you grow, whatever you get out of this coaching or service, I know it's going to come back to the world, or maybe even to me in some unimaginable fashion that I can't even fathom today. I don't even need to know what the return is, but I just know it's going to be so powerful that I'm willing to just like give you something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say, so when you guys imagine I've heard you guys talk about that in the past, and I'd always imagined it more like college scholarship tuition, where there's a fund that's pooled together and it's divvied out. And I think every once in a while, I knew a couple of people that had gotten them, and they got to meet the person who funded their school, and it was kind of a beautiful moment. But you have like a the not in this like top hierarchy, but you have this like nebulous, I give to a general fund and then that helps people. Then you have, I give to a general fund, but they tell me who I helped, which makes me feel good. And then there's what you just described, Mike, which I think is another level of like,
Yeah.
hey, I am so in your corner, but I have the means. I know you don't, for XYZ reasons that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you
Yeah.
where you want to go. Yeah, that's a whole nother, because then you're going beyond just empowerment and agency and the belief that I can do it to like that next level too of someone else believes that I can do
Yeah.
it. Someone else is believing in me, which is
Yeah. Well, I think so.
doubly
Perspectives,
powerful
yeah,
as
like,
well.
as I was saying that out loud, I mean, it's happened to me. I had a therapist who knew that I was going through a lot, and he told me that I shouldn't ever pay him. And he's like, you can pay me if you want to. He's like, but I would rather you not. And you can come to me anytime you want. He goes, I just have a schedule. I'll fit you in. But if you want to come 5 days a week for 52 weeks in a row, like you can do that. He opened the doors that wide, and yeah, it
Wow.
was just unbelievable. Like
That's really cool.
the amount of progress you can make with that kind
Right.
of abundance is insane, right? Like, and granted, most people have to do, because their lives, their jobs, like once a week therapy sessions or whatever. And that's awesome. But it's like when these people like see you and know that this is going to be a gift, like it's just so cool. And I haven't thought about this in that level, but I'm like, man, it's almost more meaningful if it's just one-on-one like this. Instead of this pool of money and coming from many people, it's like pairing people up with like their biggest fan. Yeah.
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 It's like
even
sponsorship
that name,
almost.
even having
Yeah,
a
that's
name to
good.
it just feels wrong, like
Yeah, that name does not feel right.
Right.
But yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's this the best friend relationship where they help.
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
Just got to create a paragraph to describe this beautiful situation.
I know. Yeah.
If you like that, then talk to us. We got something that can help.
And I think this is where, I mean, this gets a little bit deeper, but that's where we start to really shift the financial system around health and healing and the healthcare system. Right now we're all built on capitalism and profit and loss and cost cutting and efficiencies, and what Mike's speaking to is it gives that's where people start to actually they create a new system of how we provide for each other and it's tapping into more of the natural law of how the universe actually works, of giving and receiving and of reciprocity, and it's not a transaction, it's an exchange of energy, an exchange of love and appreciation, and it's not an expectation that something is going to be given back to you. It's almost like it's a selfless gift in a sense, but knowing that like this is how it all works, this is the exchange of energy, like I'm giving it to you because I want to give to you,
Right.
because I love you. And then knowing that the universe is going to have your back no matter what. It's like a financial system. I'll call it financial system, but it's an energy exchange system built on faith,
Yeah.
built on natural law, built on this constant, cycling through of giving and receiving, of giving and receiving.
Mm.
And the giving may go in one direction and the receiving may come from somewhere completely different. And that's where we need to kind of break free of these old kind of shackles of the old financial system to really understand on a deep level, on a quantum level, right? This is actually what quantum physics is showing us, is like this energy is coming in from all different directions.
Wow.
And giving it in one way is not like it's an exchange. Like, I'm giving you this, you give me that. No, it's
Right.
like, I'll give you this, and then someone's going to show up at my door. Oprah Winfrey's going to show up at my door with a new car tomorrow. Like, that's the like,
Yeah.
that's the kind of system that is being created by what Mike's describing.
Well, in all of that, from everything you guys have been saying, like it's almost like the feeling of someone stepping into a terraform space of calm, nature, safety, that like kind of breath of fresh air from like the rush and pace and grind of life. You're creating that also in this financial system where it's like you get this moment because they're going to leave that space eventually or whatever, and like go back into the world where the other financial system reigns, and they're going to be met with transactions. But for this moment, extended or shortened, they get a small taste of something different that's more aligned to
Yeah.
the natural way of the human body, the human experience. So
Yeah.
it's feeding this same kind of ecosystem. Maybe that's not the right word. Maybe it is. Ecosystem of what you guys are creating, culture that, is holistically different. It's kind of
Even like
uniform in that
wrapping it
sense,
into a
because-
program starting to
Yeah.
feel wrong.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like I'm almost tempted just to, maybe it's sorry, I know this is a sidebar, but like it's maybe even just a series of stories, like to inspire people. Like the example I was mentioning to you,
Yeah.
where the therapist just opened his doors to me, right? And finance like wasn't a constraint. Year 2 years, almost a year and a half after I was done seeing him, like we're still friends and I hang out with him all the time. But this person will remain anonymous. But someone approached me and said, like, they said, it was like Christmas time though, who has been the most like impactful person in your life? And so I said, this gentleman, this therapist, and then they said, I want to give them money, like anonymously. Like they don't need to know who it's coming from. And so like I had the honor of like approaching that therapist with a check. And it didn't come from me. It came from, like, as far as he knows, like, who knows where it came from, right? And he was just like, this is what I'm talking about.
Right.
He's like, the exchange between you and me never needed to happen. And he's like, I knew that this would. And he's like, and you and I aren't done working with each other. He's like, this is just going to keep happening. And it doesn't have to happen in this like direct exchange. Like it can happen in so many different ways of abundance. But it just, like, when those things come full circle and you share it with other people, like the person with the resources is going to think to themselves, like, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's how I want people. Like, look at this
Right.
impact that I'm having, like, on this person.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Till it's woven into the things you're creating. I think it's when you tell an origin story about a brand, even as clearly as you guys can, you don't always tell that piece, but it's in there somewhere, like how you think about what this should look like, what it should feel like,
Yeah.
what the experience should be. You have very clear, this role, this is what I want it to be like. And so, makes me excited for what you guys are building, just because I know those stories linger underneath that surface, beyond just, this is a great business idea.
Yeah. It's not a business
You
idea.
know
It's
what I
like,
mean?
oh, wouldn't
Like-
it be cool if the world worked? Wouldn't it be cool if people understood that the world does work like this?
Right. This is a great
Yeah,
life
this is how it actually
idea.
works. Yeah, I know. I think it's funny when people they'll promote, oh, the wellness industry is a $6 trillion industry. Look how fast it's growing. And it's like, dude, it's just because people are realizing they value their existence.
Yeah. I
You
know.
it's not
like,
not an industry. It's not a business. This is our existence.
yeah, wellness
Yeah.
as a business is
Yeah,
in
totally.
itself kind of an oxymoron, I think. But
Yeah.
okay, we'll go into the rituals and kind of how you show up. Some of this we've kind of touched on a lot. But I'll ask this one because it's pretty general. What images, objects, or environments represent what Terraform is all about? Is there, when you think about Terraform at its best, are there images that come to mind? Are there, maybe another way to think about it too is like, what would someone in the community see out in the world and recognize like, oh, that represents what I feel in that space? And they could be super general. It could be specific. This is more of a broader, as you think about just the aesthetics of and the connection that people feel when they come across what you guys are creating.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's coming to mind first is like a physical environment. How do these actually look and feel? And I love it when they blend so seamlessly into the landscape. It just feels like they're meant to be there.
Yeah.
Right. We talk about just regional architecture, regional aesthetic, regional design, regional materials, local, and so using materials and styles that fit into the where I'm at the Northwest and where Mike's at, and he's kind of in a high desert, alpine desert, and expanding into different areas, deserts of Sedona or wherever, the Midwest.
Yeah.
It's like creating spaces that embody the natural landscape, that just make it all feel like it's a home, right? Everything belongs together.
It's almost
then there's
like
also-
wherever you are, it's not as broad as like every person who ever comes across a Terraform is going to imagine the singular thing. It might be, if you're in Seattle area, you might see it as this because they so ingrained it into its natural habitat in a way. If you think about it in that kind of phrasing. It's interesting.
Exactly. I think just the thing that will probably tie them all together is the different modalities, the kind of the extent of how far we go with the modalities that we offer, and the campus, and I think it'll feel similar. There'll be a piece of it all that feels very similar, but I think they will be quite unique in a sense. But the thread that probably goes through them all is just this focus on community, and nature, and this the self-discovery, the pursuit of self-discovery of who you are, and I think that's probably what will go through it all. Yeah.
No, this answers the question exactly, but the thing about our mission and vision, and I hope people feel it this way, is I don't even know how we're going to express it necessarily, or show this in a tangible way, but and I think this is what you were talking about, Cameron, earlier when you were having a tough time naming your company. It's like the mission and the vision are bigger than the brand, and they're bigger than you, or they're bigger than us. The company is just a title, and And it's like in this world we live in, for
Yeah.
some reason, everything needs a title, like it just has to, it doesn't have to. I mean, you're already standing out of the crowd with that, but you know what I mean? Like in the work,
Right.
the work can happen in any way. It can take any shape or form, and it can live under a different title. It can live under, I don't know, a different company. It doesn't matter. And so it's like you're in a way managing your ego in a sense, like it doesn't, and just trying to fulfill this vision
Mm-hmm.
and this path that's in front of you in whatever way, in whatever doors open, right? It's like surrendering to what's coming and what feels right, and knowing that it doesn't have to be under a certain banner. Like as long as the goal and the mission are coming,
Yeah.
who are you to say like it needs to belong to a name?
Yeah. That's good. Maybe one more question in this ritual section. We've just, most of it, I feel like we've really hit on, but I think this is interesting. What's one small detail in how you operate and how you care or how you serve that most people wouldn't notice but matters deeply to you? So we know, like, I know the bigger pictures of like nature, creating community, those kind of things. Is there, think smaller than that, particular ritual, a sequence, language you want to use, like get as specific as possible, like as you guys can think about. Maybe you could think about it.
Yeah.
What are you currently doing with the sauna, bathhouse, or what you hope it becomes
Yeah.
down the road as this thing expands and
With the
grows?
sauna, it's not a written down ritual, or it's not spoken, or it is spoken, but it's this embodiment that everything that we're doing is an act of service, and the level of presence you can give the preparation of the sauna, making of the fire, cleaning of the space, like preparation of the tea, and then the hospitality you express to guests even during the session. Like every single thing is an act of service, and it enlivens the space. So if you were like, the opposite of that would be going about the work as a job, like just only thinking of it as a job, as
Yeah.
opposed to an extension of who you are, um and knowing that every single act and every single amount of energy that you're putting into it is going to change the trajectory, even the slightest bit, of the person's day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It changes the whole
Yeah.
experience. Yeah. So
Yeah,
many
that's
stories
a
of the opposite come to mind of like
yeah.
experiencing the opposite in day-to-day life. So for sake of,
I think that's one of the beautiful things that's come about from actually being able to operate the sauna is I've just seen it in Mike, seen this kind of new life around service come into him, and it's something that I don't think I have experienced myself, because I have not been in that position before to actually be of such intimate service to somebody. And so the sauna has been wonderful for that. I think it's shown Mike in particular, but through Mike, it's shown me this this importance of service to others, of in how we show up in the operation through the sauna, how we show up in service. Yeah.
yeah, because what I'm hearing you guys say too is it's, again, maybe this is kind of the through line, but like you could create the most calming, relaxing, safety feeling inducing environment with the best practitioners collected that are all in agreement on how to make empowerment the center. And anybody that's working there treats it as a job, and then the whole environment kind of goes away because how they're showing up is changing it because of how all the science. I don't want to get into it because but I like the science, like the nervous system and how our nervous systems connect and feed off each other, and how they can feed off each other's and share each other's states. And man, if you have an environment where everybody's showing up and it's an act of service, furthers that whole experience down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's huge.
It almost seems like how can anything operate any other way? Yeah, you're like, how can you
Right.
take
Yeah.
the profane or the like? How can everything be so profane? Like you got to put the sacred back into it.
Yeah, I love it. I have this question that keeps coming to my mind. I haven't asked it yet, and it doesn't have a great place to fit, but I just want to ask it because even Brian, you were mentioning earlier, just if there's anything that comes up, I'm just curious over this, let's say 2020 unofficial start kind of this thing becoming, have you guys found the door to what you're trying to create feeling more open or still as closed as I imagine it has been for so much of our history as a culture? Are you guys seeing more acceptance inclinations towards a diverse healing pathway, different modalities, holistic? What has that been like over the course as you've done this?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's for a couple of reasons. I mean, a combination of just personally, we've been opening ourselves up to this world, so we're exposing ourselves to what was already out there and what already existed. But even seeing other people in our lives start opening up to these things, and then, I mean, I think you can see it too on a global scale. Just the number of people that are starting to tune into voices and different YouTube channels and whoever's speaking about these topics is just that interest is growing quite a bit. So yeah, I think it's both of those things have something to do with it. But yeah, the world is definitely opening up to these other ways. People are starting to catch on to like something's off, and I need to start looking in other places. Definitely.
Yeah, it taps into just where you show up in the culture, like the cultural moment we're in, and you guys as a breed and a company, what you guys are creating, there's a lot of potential. When you think of this kind of growing acceptance, curiosity, are there particular groups, companies that you would like to, that you could see being a good fit to partner with, or events that you guys that come to mind of like, this would make sense for us to show up here to participate in or to help out in or to showcase in? Yeah, events or people you think would be good partnerships.
Yeah. I mean, the person who comes to mind, Zach Bush.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of Zach Bush. He came from the very traditional Western medical system. He's studying, I think, cancer genes.
Okay. Wow.
Like very technical. Yeah. And so I like Zach a lot because he's taken what all of us grew up in and he studied it and knew it so deeply, and then has transitioned since into basically the same kind of paradigm that we're operating from, of like this holistic viewpoint of the world, and this transformation that I think we're all being called to jump into, and that transformation is inner transformation. That's the healing. That's where the healing occurs. So he speaks a lot about also soil health, farming practices, and talks about how the soil health is really the health of like our world, of our planet. And then he'll do a lot of retreats.
Okay.
So all over the world. And then he has an online community. It used to be called the Journey of Intrinsic Health, and I think it's a new name now, but it's essentially a very multifaceted, holistic approach to healing. So he'll go into the nutritional aspects of it, but then also the deeper mental, emotional, and physical aspects of just living life.
Yeah.
He talks a lot about emotional processing. So he very much aligns to what we're doing. I mean, there's others too. He stands out the most. I mean, Tom Cowan is up there too. He's similar, like he brings in a lot of diverse different modalities and diverse healers, but it's all online. So it's not a physical presence for him, but those type of folks, and there's lots of them out there, would be people we would partner with would be a good fit
Okay.
for what we're doing. Yeah.
It's good.
Even just partnering too with farms. Farms,
Interesting.
like food is such an important
Yeah.
aspect of where we're going and of health, and it's a good starting point for many people
Yeah.
too when they start experiencing health problems is going to the food. And now people are realizing it's the center of a community,
Mhm.
right? It's like a vital aspect of how we live, how we survive, and creating safety, right? Food is safety.
Yeah.
Having food to nourish ourselves is safety. And so um, we see ourselves partnering or locating next to farms,
Mm.
organic farms and ranches too, meats and
Yeah.
mills as well, things like that. But yeah. So
Man, that's a whole other conversation about food. I would feel like we could spend another 2 hours just diving into food and health. At least I could.
I know. Yeah.
Think about it a lot. Let's dive into some of the narrative archetypes. I'm curious to see how you guys think about this. When you think about Terraform and how you guys show up for people, which feels most true for how you show up? I'll name them and I'll describe them, and you guys can think about them. I've got like 5 or 6 here. I have a longer list somewhere. So if none of these are like, I'm not sure what's there, let me know. I'll find the bigger list
Yeah.
and we'll keep
I think
diving.
we have an idea, but yeah,
Okay.
so go ahead.
Well, wait. Let me see. I was going to try to guess, but okay. There's creator, which is like build something for others to express themselves in. Nurturer, creating safety, care, belonging. Magician, transforming how people experience possibility. Explorer, showing a new path, opening new territory. Sage, offering wisdom, clarity, or a deeper way of seeing.
Yeah. Well, those all kind of fit, huh?
I know, right? I was reading, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yes to
You
all.
know, I know we've done an exercise like this before.
Okay.
I think the Explorer, I think it's, or Pathfinder too, is sometimes what
Yeah.
we call it. Just opening new doors, opening new ways of thinking.
Yeah.
It pushes it a little bit against the traditional systems in a sense.
Yeah.
It's not quite the rebel, right?
Right.
But it does show new ways of doing things, and the nurturer is definitely in there. I can feel that. But I think the magician is something I really am called to. I feel like drawn to this idea of transformation and of magic,
Yeah.
and that finding that transformation in yourself is really the answer.
Yeah.
Kind of surrendering to that the natural world, the natural law is everything changes, and that when we meet disease or sickness or illness, or if we're out of alignment and out of balance, it might be because we're here to transform, and we're fighting it.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it's calling us to transform. And so the magician, I love.
If we're applying it to
Yeah.
like the customer story,
yeah,
to the explorer, I think fits better as well, because like we kind of went back to showing, not necessarily like giving people the freedom to explore for themselves, giving them the freedom to find their own way. And
Yeah.
so I think that fits really well for our customers. Like the magician and the sage and even the nurturer are great too, but I think they more showcase Terraform as a whole and maybe what we're providing. But I think the explorer for both sides of the coin, like our demographic and Terraform, like seems to fit really well.
I love this. I love this conversation, particularly when you think about content, messaging, how you kind of sound or write or speak out into the world. Because I think it really shapes like your brand of voice or your tone or those kind of things that maybe as a writer I care a lot about more than the average person. But that's where I feel like the explorer too, because that is such a distinction piece of like empowerment. Like you're wanting them to embark on their own journey. I think of like the other ones as what you're creating, like you just said, and I think about the explorer being, if someone were to hear that and they're that type, they're like, I want to figure this out for myself. It's gonna like instantly connect. Not that the other ones wouldn't, but it just seems like, yeah, that's a great. So it helps you for thinking about, hey, I want to write this, or I want to, how do we, put together our newsletter, our content? Like, well, we want to lead towards this one and sound like this, make sure we're hitting this. Because those are the people that are really going to thrive here. The ones who are already like, I need to find a new path. I need to.
Because if you
figure this
haven't
out.
found the magic
Yeah.
of the magician, or if you haven't found the truth of the sage yet, or if you haven't really been nurtured, those are things that you may discover along the way after you've started your exploration. So the exploration really seems like the starting point for our clients or demographics. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what role are your practitioners? Like I think we've answered this about like those who are participating, but for the practitioners, what role are you playing in their own stories? Like, what chapter of their life are you showing up in that you're also almost providing a service to them or a platform or a space for them? Like, where are they at when they come across TerraForm that it's a great fit and they're going to
I think
thrive
we help
as
them
a practitioner?
find their customers. Like, they're at a point where they've identified their gifts and their passions, and then perhaps they're at various stages of growth and their customer base. But I think we come in because we'll serve as a platform to reinforce where they're at, and then we're attracting similar people to what they want or need. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've also, this is more of a funny side, is that healers, especially kind of the more spiritual, holistic, they're not great at marketing themselves. And sometimes they don't need to because they're so good at what they do. People just find them. But for people who are starting out in this world, they may have exceptional skill, but creating websites and advertising and marketing for themselves is not always like a knack for those folks. And I think adding a layer of like TerraForm, of like an infrastructure where there's already a captive audience, and you bring in a practitioner, it's almost like a surplus, a supplement to their customer base, their audience, their prospects. So I think a lot of folks, when they hear about this when the practitioners hear about this idea of TerraForm campus of all coming together, they're just like, yes, like, like sign me up. Like, we've been waiting for this. Like, we've just been like trying to create this on our own, but it's hard for those types of folks to really bring the real estate together, the real estate construction development minds together. So having folks like us who have already had this background, who actually create this space, the physical space, and execute it. I think it's like something a lot of people have been waiting for. Yeah,
that's good. It's a good recognition. So people they're waiting for it. And I think it's interesting if they don't have to spend all the energy on their own marketing, they can focus on their own gifts. They can do what they do best, and they show up differently. And I want to talk about kind of the through line, and then I want to end with just where are you guys at right now with TerraForm? What are you doing? What's next in the pipeline? Kind of just the real basics. Like, if you could make sure anybody that caught this wanted to know what you're looking for, what's next for you guys. But the synthesis, as you guys think about everything we've just said, what is running through it? Like, as you guys what has kind of echoed throughout all this conversation that you have heard, as you each have shared or in your own head? What's the through line?
Yeah, I think it's redefining what it means to heal, how to heal. And it's so radically different than what we all know, what we've been taught. And it's about remembering who we are as a human collective, like why we came here. But then also remembering who we are as individuals, like what is our purpose, and how do we find our authenticity, and how do we express who we truly are, and then remembering the interconnected nature of everything, of our connection to the planet, of our connection with each other, and then our connection to ourselves. Like, that's that journey of self-discovery, and like remembering that, and stepping into that more fully is the answer to your disease. It's the answer to your ailment. It's the answer to your worries and your fears. Like, that is healing. That is it. And it is so far removed from what we know, and it may sound so foreign to people, but that's truly what it means. It's like to come into balance with all of those things, who you truly are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike,
I
did you have
think
anything?
in my own journey, the more clear on who I am and the more I get in touch with my gifts, um, it it becomes it almost becomes impossible to avoid wanting to help others. Like I'm not saying you have to. I mean, abundance comes in so many forms, but as abundance comes in health and wellness and relationships, or I mean all these different forms of capital, um, the the magic of the universe becomes more clear as well. And I can't help but want that for other people, and it becomes this
Yeah.
it becomes this yearning for service. Like, if I was able to, if I can experience this, I want this for other people. And what can I do in any way to help bring this to other people?
Yeah.
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 Oh, I love it. I also like to share what I heard a lot as on this side of the screen/table. I think I would say maybe not just what I heard a lot, but I think what stood out to me, what I thought I knew about what you guys were doing to what I feel like I know now, empowerment and disempowerment have been like such that has changed how I see my own healing, my wife and I's own pathways towards self-discovery, authenticity. Like I have thought a lot about agency as a big portion of my life in the last decade, but empowerment as it connects to healing was something I had not made the connection to. And to me, I see that as so much of what you all have described. As you think about who this hits for, those who are looking for that, I think about where this came from. It was your own journey of experiencing that, how you guys show up in the world, the cultural moment we're in. I think the practitioners and the participants and the partnerships that'll like latch on are kind of this weird vision of like a little gel bubble that like kind of forms together with other ones. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
those that do that will be the ones that, however they express that phrase or that meaning of empowerment, and it comes to healing, I think it'll be just like, and that's like, oh, these are my people. This is my place. So maybe just, in the last couple of minutes, anything else that you feel like you didn't get to share about TerraForm that you want to make sure is shared? And then where are you guys at right now? What's coming up? And any ways or places people can find you guys out in the world?
Well, I think they can fly to Denver and drive to Buena Vista,
Yes.
check out the sauna.
Absolutely.
We'll recommend that. And then I think where we're going beyond that, I mean, that's the starting point. We start evolving and growing our campus into is all these different types of modalities and structures. So we won't go into all those details of what they look like, but it's a diverse array of holistic healing modalities that you can imagine, right? Like you can get creative and your mind can wander about all the different modalities we'll have there, but it's a campus, and around that healing campus is a community of homes and where people live. And so the vision does extend beyond just the healing aspect. It extends into the residents and the people who live there. So it truly does become a community, a small town even. And so that's where we're heading. And we're going to grow each community pretty thoughtfully and organically. And I think slowly, especially for the one that we're starting in Colorado now, we're we're definitely starting from square one, right?
Yeah.
Like the smallest common denominator. And I think when we look for space and land in Washington, we're going to take a similar approach, and we may have some partners here that we're teaming up with in still early phases, but just finding beautiful scenic land, and then starting with the things that we know and that are true to us, and the sauna and the bathhouse, and there's some other types of modalities that we'll probably start with, and darkness retreats have always been it's always been attractive to us. It's also a great destination, so people will be attracted to that from all over the place.
That's
so but yeah, and so that's where we're going, and we'll just expand and grow methodically over time. Yeah, and into different regions, into different parts of the country. We'd love to do more. We'd love to be able to travel between these ourselves, and and have them in different parts of the country and different parts of the world even, and just have little pockets of TerraForm that we can experience throughout the year and different locations.
Love it. Mike,
That's
anything you'd add?
exactly, Brian. I mean, that Brian outlined exactly what our path is in the project base. The projects we plan to endeavor to do. I think everything that we're doing can actually happen without a physical building, which is the wild part of it all. We can do all this just through growing community in our own personal lives and sharing our stories with people, and becoming more in touch with our faith, and continuing on our journeys. So like everything about this company grows as we do more work as well, and try to inspire others, and kind of like the more service we can provide to others, that our hope is that in turn they start to feel the same way, and so this grows in kind of two different trajectories, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks, Cameron.
Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much for your time. Thanks for
Yeah.
telling your stories and getting into the nitty gritty.
Yeah. Oh, we also do have a website.
Okay.
Maybe we'll link all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm getting into the boring stuff now,
Right.
but we have websites and we have social media. We have
Right.
YouTube, but so people can follow along
Okay.
there if they're curious. But yeah, this has been awesome, Cameron.
Good.
Yeah, like really, really enjoyed your interest, your line of questioning too, and thanks for giving us a platform to express while we're here.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been great. I loved it. I have so much more to ask, but we'll cap it at that for time's sake. But
Well,
more conversations to
and
come.
maybe even just where can people find you, because
Yeah.
we're going to share this on our channels, and so yeah, where can people find you?
Yeah, LinkedIn is where I do all my kind of writing, posting. I do have a dad newsletter for dads that are trying to kind of learn the science behind relationships and connection with their kids. It's mostly for working dads, so just the ones that are busy and they want to connect and they want beyond what they've already been experiencing, something deeper. And that's called Dad Differently. And but it's all linked on my LinkedIn page. That's the best place to find me. That's where you can connect with me and start conversations. And yeah, that's the best place.
I think we could probably have another 2-hour conversation around parenting.
Yeah,
being dads.
absolutely. Oh,
So
man.
maybe
Maybe we'll switch.
maybe
and,
we'll do that.
Yeah, we'll do it.
We'll do that
Differently
next.
live or something. That'd be great. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, that'd be fun. All right.
All right.
All right. Thanks
a good
so
one.
much.
Yeah.
We'll see you, Cameron.
Yeah, we'll see you. Appreciate you.